We are, good sir.
Mike, for some reason, came dressed as a Vietnamese rice farmer. Mike, how's the war against the American insurgents going?
It's going quite well.
Really?
We made some gains in Saigon.
Have you launched the Tet offensive yet? Let me know how the Tet offensive goes.
Here's what I was going for. I was going for a Raiden from Mortal Kombat. I was gonna be like, I must consult the Elder Gods, and then take it off and stuff. But
he went for Raiden from Mortal Kombat. What he got was raiding from American insurgent camps in Vietnam. Jesus, dude. Come on, man. Isn't this some form of cultural appropriation? Can we get our guest correspondent Victoria on to comment on this cultural appropriation?
Victoria? Also, we can't hear David for whatever reason, but
I can hear him.
Oh, David.
Yeah, hello.
Hey,
Victoria, can you comment on Mike's call? First of all, how you doing, Victoria?
Yes, it is a cultural appropriation.
Can you comment on Mike's offensive cultural appropriation and tell me the racist implications of why he's dressed like a Vietnamese rice farmer?
I can't see it, so I can't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, I forgot my webcam.
I don't like to,
we're not putting
people's eyes.
Yeah, and we're not putting this on the podcast, are we?
Yeah, why not?
Why don't you have a video?
So what happened was I forgot my webcam.
David doesn't want people to know I exist.
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Okay. For the record,
so putting David in hot water very early on with
really
with the lovely Victoria.
Oh, we keep the women in the back.
all right. Okay. Goodbye.
Oh
shit.
no!
Oh, the camera's gone. Oh no!
Oh no! Victoria has hijacked David's end of the podcast, and
All right.
Seize the means of production.
All right. So I gotta let everybody know what happened was we planned to do a podcast Sunday. It didn't happen. By the way, consulting the Elder Gods is over.
I mean, if you're not going to wear that, I can.
There we go. Okay. So we planned to do a podcast Sunday. Didn't happen because of some technical difficulties and some computer issues. Okay. Let me throw this away.
All right, give it to me. I'll handle it for the podcast.
All right. Okay. And so as a result, we're doing this Monday night. But Stefano was mad early for once in his life.
Mad early. These guys, unprofessional. I'm here. I'm here. No. I'm here on time. That's what. Take this off. That's what is asked of me. I'm here on time, damn it. Rain, snow, shine. I came here early. These guys strolled in here 20 minutes late.
No.
Picking a wedgie out of their ass saying something about LeBron James.
Listen.
I swear to God, there's like casual basketball talk, guys, like it's any given Sunday. This is some Monday. We show up to work. We show up to work.
Sunday is the Lord's Day and NFL. So don't say it's any given Sunday.
That's true. It is the Lord's Day. It is Artem Lobov's day on Sunday. On Sundays, we praise our good Lord Artem Lobov, MMA God. Now, listen. I mean, we had some fights that we got to talk about last week.
Wait, hold on. That's the other thing. We don't. So, yeah, we were kind of mad late, and as a result, we couldn't get started on time. But, wow, voice crack there. But we fixed something. So now, first time announcement, we're going to have a fight companion for Saturday for Khabib versus Gaethje. All right? It's going to happen. Main card only because I'm tired and I have things to do. Okay.
And the main card on this card is all that matters. But I'm gonna be excited I'm very excited for this actually. Wow.
Yeah,
I've been saying if you guys are fans of the leg kick and you've been following it, for years I've been saying Gaethje is gonna be the one to beat Khabib. Bet the house on it. That's a bold prediction.
Are you actually betting the house on it though?
I don't own a house yet, but I will be dipping into my savings to place a bet on Gaethje because he's gonna get me rich. This just in, Gaethje wins the title.
See,
Boom.
I felt the same way about Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey. I was so convinced. They're like, the best girl she's beat is Raquel Pennington. Shut up.
And you made a buck off that.
I banned it. Freaking banned it.
So let it be heard. Number one, the leg kick. We are the Nostradamuses of MMA. Number two, David, say something, I'm breaking up on you.
I don't know who's going to win between Khabib and Justin. But it's going to be a crazy card. And I'm pumped to talk about, I guess, the main event of the last card, and also the boxing. Over the weekend.
With that being said, gentlemen, do we have any news? Any news and views from around the world of mixed martial arts?
Okay. No real mixed martial arts news, but I did want to kind of talk about Ontario news for a little bit, because something actually came along that I was interested in. And I don't know if you gentlemen actually want to talk about it, like, even briefly. So Doug Ford recently came out and asked, like, just...
Wait, he came out?
Yes,
Doug Ford gay?
He came out as a bisexual. No.
Respect, man. LGBTQ Ford.
No, okay.
I thought he didn't like attending the Pride Parade. I thought he was a bigot, but apparently he's not. Sorry, go on, Mike.
No, but he went to the podium today during a press conference about coronavirus, as they do every day, and he asked anti-mask protesters to stop coming to his house because they're scaring the kids, which I thought was interesting. I don't actually really have like a yes or no opinion. I just kind of wanted to say, hey, Ontario News, we're a local podcast. We try to be as local as possible. And yeah, that was something that interested me, and I thought that, like, in terms of lifestyle news, that's a thing. So
anti-maskers, Ontario anti-maskers, leave our public servants alone and go pound sand. Go back into the hole from whence you came.
Leave our sports alone. That's it. Just leave our sports alone.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, also, what was I gonna say?
What were you gonna say, Mike? Any fight announcements? I got my phone here. Give me a second.
Rumors are that they're gonna set Andrade versus Valentina for like January.
Andrade. This is how hard up the division is. Off of a 1-1 in your last two, you're able to get a title shot.
In fairness, it was a hell of a performance from Andrade against the number one contender at 125.
Oh, I know, but great performances against contenders in many other divisions don't yield you.
The number one, though, like, that's what... Okay, if we remember, Jose Aldo was 0-2 when he got his title shot against Peter Yan, and Jose Aldo lost to the number one contender at 35.
I agree, but there was someone else in that division on a win streak. Who else is there at 125 right now? Go ahead, I'll wait.
Good point. Fair enough. Roxanne Marferi, 2 straight.
So, moving on. With that being said, let me, Mike, can you pull up this spicy card, because it was picante. There were some interesting results. I think the top 3 definitely merit some discussion. But Leo, first, I guess let's get into that Ortega zombie matchup, because honestly, I don't think that went the way any of us were expecting.
No. I thought Korean Zombie had it in the bag.
Dude, first off, justice for Jay Park, man. Come on, you can't just slap. Where does Jay Park fit into all this? You can't just slap Jay Park and get away with it.
Jay Park got slapped, and it was what it was. Deal with it, okay? I don't care.
And it was a warning.
Hilarious, man. Shouts out to Jay Park. One of the most funny things that they played during the promo was they showed Ortega afterwards being like, I told you I was going to slap the S out of you, and they made it seem like he was saying that to Korean Zombie. It's like, no, man, if I was Jay Park, I'd be offended. It's like, my face did not get slapped, so I could be left out of the promotional footage.
Jay Park is what Jay Park is.
His lawyers probably sends like a cease and desist, like, don't you dare. Like, if we're not getting paid off this, I don't want to see my image in no promo video at all.
So, were you talking about, Stefano, what card did you want to see? The Khabib versus Gaethje card? Or
No, this one, because we're about to do a review.
Okay.
Oh, man, so this fight
Hold on. Let me get the regular. The stream. There we go. Okay, go.
Okay, so this card happened, this fight happened nothing like we were expecting. Brian Ortega, first of all, southpaw.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
Good for him. At 2 years off, the man's been developing his skills. The man's been putting in work. Clearly, his striking looked crisp. He looked patient, not willing to get lured into exchanges that he didn't need to be in, because Korean Zombie, primarily a counter striker, waits for you to overextend, comes over the top with that right hand left hook and just, or an uppercut, and that's just lights out. But Zombie, did he look off to you in this fight? Did he look a little bit slow? Did he look like...
I think he just didn't expect Brian Ortega to come out southpaw. I've seen it before where guys who just like against Orthodox versus Orthodox look, really, really good. Just all of a sudden their timing comes astray when they face a southpaw. And I think that's what happened here because you saw as soon as he figured him out in the fifth, Korean Zombie did a little better.
Oh, yeah, he was landing in the fifth round, absolutely. Yeah, he was landing. And
I think it was more so Brian Ortega kept him at bay because he was tricky for him. He was something he didn't expect.
Yeah, that's true. And Ortega's defense as well, to his credit, looked good. He was moving out of the way when he needed to. He wasn't getting caught up on the fence, which, you could justify with his level of grappling skill, maybe taking more liberties with that, with your footwork. But his shoulder roll looked good. All of the defensive tricks of the trade that we saw starting to make an appearance in the Holloway fight, the double forearms guard, they were there, but they looked just a little more crisp, a little more defensively aware in this situation. Mm-hmm. How about that spinning elbow, though?
Yeah.
Who expected that? That was almost like an FU to Korean Zombie,
Yeah. It's like, hey, remember the last time you got knocked out by an elbow? Here's a spinning one for you.
It was a weird one, too, because it didn't even connect with the point of the elbow. It was like the meat of the forearm, but it just...
But Brian Ortega's been practicing that all day, apparently, in camp, so credit to him.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, it was, I don't know, I felt like the elbow was pretty emblematic of the fight in that at a certain point, Ortega kind of had the Korean Zombie's number. And I feel like that's why he landed that elbow, because the Korean Zombie was kind of like rushing in, and basically he was able to time him. Yeah, in general, I think like Ortega just put on the clinic, and I agree with Stefano that the Korean Zombie did not look good. We've definitely seen better performances.
Yeah, I was shocked.
I wonder how much of that has to do with the spinning elbow kind of slowing him down. So he was kind of inactive in those middle rounds.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like maybe the third and fourth round was where he got really shut out.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. He was much more inactive, and that could be a function of if I rush in, I might need another one of these. Perhaps he wasn't fully recovered. But
to be fair, though,
it's too short in the fifth round. Sorry, go ahead, David.
No, I was just gonna say. To be fair, though, I was gonna say even before that Ortega had a pretty clean striking like throughout. Like there was a marked improvement in Ortega's game, and I think I agree with I guess you guys that
just to clarify, because you mean his striking was clean throughout this fight, or his striking was clean throughout his career?
No, it was way better this fight. Like it was way significantly better. It was like noticeably. I think everybody going into the fight was expecting more of a. Even though Ortega kind of has a boxing background, I think we saw a little bit of the limitations of that against Max Holloway. But I think in this fight, like we saw that he was way better. Like he's been spending time definitely in the gym, definitely improving his technique. And what surprised me was that it wasn't just grappler versus striker. Ortega won the stand-up, and when it went to the floor, like it looked like Chang Sung-Yin didn't want to be anywhere near there. So yeah, it was a great fight.
I would say his boxing, but he was far more of a puncher than a boxer.
His kicks look good too.
I meant in his early career, he's far more of a puncher than the boxer, whereas like Max Holloway is someone who employs much more of the sweet science of boxing as far as measure and range and manipulation of timing. But Ortega was just a really good hitter where if he hit you, you were going down, and just a tough guy who could withstand a beating. But he looks fairly scientific here. Yeah, his kicking looked great. Yeah. And he kicked in the past, but his kicks were fairly slow, didn't really fit in as a greater part of his game.
The kicking mechanics are still not all the way there. You know what I'm saying? But like, Jesus Christ, like,
that's the thing. You don't have to be the best kicker in the world to employ kicks effectively, to set up your hands, to make your opponent stay in place, right? And he looked fairly disciplined without keeping his back on the fence as well. The takedowns were there. He had a couple of sweet takedown finishes where in the early rounds, I think he'd go from single leg to correct me if I'm wrong, but he went to the
single leg.
Yeah. Also, and let's not forget about the wrestling feints where he would fake the takedown and then come up with the jab, or hit the jab and then fake the takedown and make like the Korean Zombie basically guess what he was going to do next. I thought he did a pretty much. It was almost like a 50% improvement. Not to put like numbers on it. It's hard to put numbers on these things, but he looked like significantly better and more well-rounded as well in terms of incorporate almost all the critiques you could have had from him in like the Holloway fights in terms of like the limits of his skills. Like I feel like he almost answered that with this fight.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
More.
And me and Mike were talking about this in the preview show. Ortega's got the equivalent of a nuclear bomb in his pocket in his jiu-jitsu, right? It's dangerous, and
no one wants to go there.
No one wants to go there. So in some ways, Mike and I were talking about maybe the wrestling should be something that, which, clearly there was improvements in his wrestling, but, when you have a nuclear bomb in your pocket, whether you're able to use it or not, the threat of the nuclear bomb is still going to neutralize a couple of skills of your opponent. For instance, I feel like Zombie wasn't as gung-ho to rush in with hands as he would against another opponent, because if you're caught overextending, the threat of the takedowns there, you might get put on your behind,
But like that's the thing about Ortega today. Ortega on Saturday is he was just tricky.
Very tricky.
And I think Zombie
his jab was a lot better too. That's another thing. Normally his jab was just a very unsubtle weapon. He would just throw it out there to throw it, and it wasn't really setting anything else up. This jab looked educated.
And it's one of those things where he just was tricky. Whenever Zombie wanted to do something, Brian Ortega had an answer. I would say the fifth is when Zombie started to figure it out a little bit more, but 2, 3, and 4, Zombie was just kept at bay. And I think that it wasn't a case of Zombie just didn't come to show up. It was more of a case of, this is why I'm really, really like, I really think Ortega should get another crack at it immediately, because at the title shot because Ortega did things to really screw over the timing of Korean Zombie, and I'd love to see what happens against Alexander Volkanovski. I don't know if that's jumping the shark. You guys can tell me, and I'll agree, but I think immediately.
I mean, I still favor, to your point, as far as the Zombie, in the 5th round, I feel like he was able to put in more work, but that was by virtue of pushing pace and kind of forcing the combinations, and he was landing, but they weren't these hard counter shots that he's able to sit down on. And 5th round is a bit too late to get to work on somebody with the physical durability of Brian Ortega.
Yeah.
But man, I think it's a bit early just based on the dominance that Volkanovski has shown. But really, who else do we have at the division? Mike, if you could pull it up, I'd really appreciate that. Because there could be a strong case.
Yeah, no, I thought it was just really briefly on Ortega's performance. I agree. It was in terms of it was a super cerebral performance. It wasn't just like he was out toughing the other guy, which I feel like a lot of his other fights are, or he catches them with something late. I think he almost like outthought the Korean Zombie, which is no mean feat considering how many fights and how experienced Korean Zombie is. His defense looked super on point, and I thought like he looked stronger than the Korean Zombie in there. And in terms of Ortega versus Volkanovski, I don't know, like initially I would have said before this fight, like no matter what, it's too soon. He needs a couple fights under his belt, but the performance was so impressive that I actually kind of like that matchup, because I think if it goes to the floor, then have we seen Volkanovski's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tested like that? That's a question, an open question. I don't know the answer to that.
You're absolutely right, David. Usually when we see Volkanovski on the floor, it's been him on top smashing in elbows, and he was billed kind of as this dominant wrestler for the early part of his career. But yeah, we really haven't seen him tested against an offensive grappler like that, providing Ortega would be able to get it to the floor. But it is an interesting question.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think that like in terms of, I don't know, maybe Volkanovski has a little bit of like the striking advantage. I mean, maybe the wrestling advantage, definitely, I would say, but the striking advantage, once again, who knows what kind of Ortega we're going to see. Like, he might raise his game, and styles make fights, right? So,
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Ortega's also a guy that you can never realistically count out of a fight based on his toughness. And the fact that me and Mike were talking about on Friday, his BJJ is of that style where
it just fits for MMA so well.
Yeah, it is not. It's like similar to like a Charles Oliveira style, but with different weapons. He is not patient, and he does not have to be. He makes things happen immediately and is extremely good at finding an opening and capitalizing on it, right? It just takes a split second in that clinch, in that over-under position, for him to snap the head down and get on in on a neck.
Yeah, I just really like him against Volkanovski. That's my thing. I really like him. Like, if we look at the rankings here,
there's really no one else now that we bring up the rankings.
Yeah.
Like, anyone he fights after this would really be a step down for him.
No, I really like Zabit. I think Zabit's cardio, there's definitely legitimate questions, but I think Zabit has an answer for everything early.
That's the thing, though. Zabit, they're booking against. I mean, a step down, as in like as far as progression of his career. Not necessarily as far as rankings. Like Zabit's very good, but
he's not Volkanovski.
Yeah, I want to see that Yair Zabit fight. I do. I think that would be a crime against humanity if we never got to see that fight. So other than that, with the top.
Maybe Max, but Max is probably going to face the loser of Yair versus Zabit, right?
Well, that's the thing. Max is coming off of 2 losses, one of them being very questionable of Volkanovski.
Yeah,
so
I thought he won that one, by the way.
Me too. But that aside, it stands as an L on his record, and therefore UFC is going to be looking to get new blood in there. So I think Ortega's your next logical man.
No, I know, and I think it's not. I don't think it's. I think he's the next guy. And I don't think it's a guy by force. I think it's a good next guy.
Sure.
I think it's a good decision to have him the next guy. I like Calvin Kattar at 6. I don't want him anywhere up. I just think that he hasn't done enough for me. I get it, Danny Ige, he looked impressive, but he hasn't
I would like a Calvin Kattar versus Max Holloway, and then the winner of Zabit versus Yair to face Brian Ortega, and then the winner of that can face Volkanovski.
David, you're speaking the language of the gods.
I just think that these guys, look, featherweight is one of the more stagnant divisions because every guy you can make an argument from 1 to 7 could get a title shot in your mind,
Potentially,
right? Yeah. Max Holloway literally, in my opinion, won against against Alexander Volkanovski the second time, but it was super close and it's an L and whatever. Brian Ortega had the fight of his life against against Korean Zombie. Zabit is a guy who's been undefeated in the UFC and is killing everyone. I know Korean Zombie lost, but he's still a tough out for anybody. And then Yair Rodriguez, my God, right? And then, then Calvin Kattar's at 6, and he is coming off of 2 impressive performances. And Josh Emmett has been lights out lately. So you can make a legitimate argument for any one of these guys. And so to tell these guys, hey, you have to wait is kind of a crime, right?
Yeah, and I would not be upset at many of those bookings that you just listed. I honestly wouldn't. Like, even down the rankings, this is an exciting division again. It really is.
Oh, and don't look now, but Edson Barbosa's at 14, and he had a hell of a performance against Amir Khani. So,
yeah.
So, I mean, that's way down the line. Don't even think about it. But the whole point I'm trying to make is
this division's stacked. Yeah. And there's talent
this is definitely a stack. I'm looking at the rankings now. This is a stacked division. Like, even down to 15, Bryce Mitchell is no joke. Sadiq Youssef, I like Shane Burgos, Dan Ige, like Arnold Allen is probably, I think he's coming off a loss, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't believe so, no.
No?
No,
I can pull that up. Hold on.
I think his last fight was that power guillotine that he hit on Mads Burnell, as far as I can remember, but I could be incorrect.
You might be right. Yeah, but either way,
he won against. Yeah, it was against Lentz, and he beat Lentz.
I don't remember.
Oh no, he's on the win streak. He's on the win streak.
Yeah, he's on.
He beat Giblert and Melendez as well.
Giblert Melendez.
Oh, he's on quite the win streak.
Yeah, then Matt Burnell.
Why is he down in the rankings? That doesn't make any sense.
Because everybody else is stacked.
Yeah.
He's at 8. Like, he's at 8.
How's Jeremy Stevens so high? No disrespect to Jeremy
Because Jeremy Stevens keeps facing everyone good.
You know why? Because you know exactly who Jeremy Stevens is, who the F he is, okay? You know exactly who he is. And don't pretend like you don't, David.
I do know who Jeremy Stevens is. All right, okay.
Next fight.
Do we want to talk... Wait, is there anything else in this fight?
No, I think that pretty well covers it for me, at least.
And I want to say this about Korean Zombie, one of the nicest guys in and out of the cage. Even when his manager got slapped, he handled it with class at the end. That Instagram post broke my heart, where he was like, "I'm ashamed of myself." That broke
Poor
my
guy.
heart.
You should not. Korean Zombie, if you're listening to the Leg Kick, which I know you're a big fan of the Leg Kick podcast, you got nothing to be ashamed of, my man. And if you ever want to comment on as a guest, you're welcome anytime. And that
Bring
should
Jay
be,
Park too.
Yeah, that should be a good consolation in these troubling times for you. So, Korean Zombie, open invite for you out there. If, I know you're listening. Hop on the podcast. It'll be good. It'll be good. And Jay Park, welcome to the fight game. So, our next fight is Caitlin Kukagan against
Chikanian. Don't do that. I did that last time and someone got really mad at me. Like, did I tell you the story about how I got a DM from somebody? I'm not going to name names. We'll talk about them after the podcast. But I got a really skating DM because I missed, because when the leg kick was just me and David. And Valentina was facing Kaylin Chagagian. I gave her no chance.
That wasn't just you and David. We were on that together. We both gave her no chance. Did we not?
I don't know if I was on it with you, but I remember like it being me and David and me being like super like, she's got no chance. I didn't even bother saying her last name. I was like, Caitlin, unpronounceable last name. And they gave me a really scathing email.
What they say?
Basically, it was, you're disrespecting all the fighters. It was a he. We'll talk about it after because I actually respect him a great deal. But yeah.
Well, he sounds like a salty little biznatch. Hey, random Instagram DMer, if you're out there, I mean, we can get it on.
I just like Caitlin Chikagian's nickname, Blonde Fighter.
Oh, that's terrible. That's a terrible nickname.
Love it. I love it. It sounds like something out of like a 90s video game.
It sounds like something that would give me death by cringe. Anyways.
All right.
When Chookagian ate this body shot, man, to be honest with you, I know what that felt like. When she hit it and she turned around, and it's that feeling when you eat a body shot and you're like, oh my God, why do I do this? Really? Really? Did you have to hit me in the liver?
Dude, the way. Okay, see, this is
come
why.
On.
This is what was so frustrating about Jessica Andrade for so long, because for so long her game was, I'm going to throw a whole bunch of wild strikes at you, grab a hold of you, pick you up, and slam you. And it was like, would it kill you to diversify your attack just a tad?
Yeah, just
because there's so much talent here.
For months, me and Mike have been begging Jessica Andrade. We know you're out there listening to the Leg Kick podcast. Hey, Jess, you can come on anytime you want, man,
I don't know if she likes being called Jess, and she gets to be called whatever she wants.
Boa. So we were saying, like, if this girl added a leg kick to her game, an inside low kick, just so that she can find range a little better and stop her opponents in place from circling away from her, she could be a world champion in certain weight classes. I really believe that. I think
she already was at one point.
Yeah, but like a legitimate world champion, not a fluke, but. But man, Chookagian seemed to be able to keep her off of her for a while with the jab, with use of circling. But the thing with Andrade is, this body shot was breaking out of a clinch, right?
Yeah,
she's one of the few women in the world that
has legitimate world breaking power.
That's the thing. It's one thing to be able to finish someone if you're winding up from the hip and you're no. This is what real power is. When you're able to hit somebody in just those tiny little openings, backing out of a clinch where you're like, hold on, I didn't really see that shot. What was that? What did she hit her with? And then we see it's just a little tight hook emerging out of the clinch. That's power when you can finish people in unexpected places.
Not just like Kaylin Chikagian went down, grabbed it, turned around, looked at the ref, looked at Jessica Andrade, and was like, nope. Not fighting.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Yeah, she looked at the ref and was like, "No, no, sir." And you know what was even more impressive to me in some ways? Standard leg kick, shin behind the thigh, dropped Caitlin Chikagian.
Oh, with a leg kick?
Yeah,
absolutely.
What the hell was that, man?
Yeah, I mean, Andrade refused. It was almost, we thought it was a religious belief of hers not to throw leg kicks, but
what the hell was that, man?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This woman is a little powerhouse.
Yeah, it turns out when you throw a leg kick, Jessica Andrade, you're the second coming of Jose Aldo. I couldn't believe it. And then the head movement too. I was so impressed. I was almost more impressed in some ways with Jessica Andrade than I was with Brian Ortega. Is that weird?
No, that's fair. I think that's fair.
Wait, really? I mean, I feel like the Andrade versus Chookagian fight was a little bit more of a toss-up than the Ortega versus...
I'm going to walk that back. I agree. Because Ortega's was a scientific...
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say Ortega's was a scientific performance over 5 rounds, whereas Chookagian was very much in this fight in portions. I'm going to agree with...
No, it's not. Let me explain. It's not that, in terms of surprising results, of course, it was Ortega, because I thought Korean Zombie had the bag. We were sitting here, and I was like...
Yeah, we didn't see the path to victory for Ortega.
It's not necessarily that Andrade won. It's how she won, what she showed, the skill she showed. Does anyone remember Andrade ever having the head movement she did as opposed to this fight?
Not the same. She did have head movement, but it was more...
It was like bouncing to start. Like
I'd have to go back and check. What I will say though is that the problem I find with a lot of these, female divisions, and this is in a very respectful tone. I just feel like sometimes
they don't exist.
Anybody at the top of the division could lose it to anybody at the top of the division. So I don't know if we should read too much. I don't know, but then again, it's kind of hypocritical considering we're reading so much into Ortega versus Chan Sung Young. But
no, David, you're
a bad performance right. Where Chukagian perhaps got caught, as opposed to like Andrade showed something like significant improvement.
I saw
there were some improvements there, but point taken. And I do agree that some of these women's divisions are make believe. Let's be honest. 125. Is the division of
she's not even in the division, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, she is now.
I mean, in fairness, though.
It was coming up.
She's taking over, want to see the attitude.
In fairness, though, with Andrade, she was a former world champion going down to... And look, she earned... Say what you will, but she earned that title shot against Rose in a big way in a premier division. And, yes... That was a fluke. That slam was a fluke. Okay, let's be honest with each other. Let's call it a buck.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a buck with each other. But she earned that title shot, right? And that second fight against Rose, she simply ran out of time. So
I can agree with that.
So this is a good fighter. It's just that she was also a fighter that, just like Ben Rothwell, sometimes you hate seeing her fight because it's a maddening experience. But
I hate seeing Ben Rothwell fight because he's not that technically sophisticated.
No, but. Are we going to pretend like Jessica Andrade doesn't suffer from the same problems? Like throw a leg kick, have some body.
I mean, she's not horrible.
She's not horrible.
Go on the leg kick.
I think she doesn't have the most refined game, but she doesn't need to. I mean, she's got a power center game, right? So
well, she does need to because she has. It's not like she's undefeated, right? She's lost her last two before this. So
I mean, but then again, she's still one of the best competitors in the division, and obviously she's still going to continue improving. I'm not saying there isn't elements she can improve on. I'm just saying that it's worked for her to focus her game mostly on power. In comparison, you have Chukagian, who some would argue is a more technically proficient, at least when it comes to stand-up, fighter, but
Dave, that's what's maddening though about fighters like her and Edson Barbosa, where they clearly have the physical attributes and skill in certain areas.
No reason why they shouldn't be
world champions. Yeah, because they do have so much physical skill and potential, but they just neglect certain areas of their game that are very important, right?
Sure.
So it's just that's I guess my reason for my frustration, at least with her. But
and I'm in the same boat, I would say.
But there's some promising signs come this fight. So
yeah, when this fight happened and she's all of a sudden it's not just hey, I'm gonna bounce my head back and forth to start that 3-punch hook combo she likes to go to. It's I am using intelligent defense and slipping out of really educated jabs by Caitlin Chukagian to set up some offense and changing levels and going high and low and closing distance intelligently and not taking 8 shots on the way in.
Yeah.
And throwing leg kicks from not even winding up with these leg kicks, throwing 2-punch combo into a leg kick, dropping this poor woman, who, by the way, is a size bigger, or at least she's
a weight class
bigger. Sorry.
This ain't the fitting room, Mike.
All right. But she's moving up a weight class.
Body shaming already, Mike.
Yeah. Inappropriate.
Par for the course, man.
I am triggered.
But yeah, no, she looked good. And I guess, bring on Valentina, right?
Hey.
Oh, what? No.
David, there's nobody else. Name someone.
Nobody.
Go ahead. David, name someone in the division.
Please,
go. I'll wait.
But also, no, I don't want to see that yet. Do you want to see that, guys?
Okay.
No, but what else?
All right, let me bring up the rankings. You guys stall. I'll bring up the rankings for you. And then you tell me.
Hey, how about that Jimmy Crute? Ooh.
Yeah, how about that Jimmy Crute? You know what the funny part is? I actually, was, rating the guy he was fighting pretty high going into this fight.
Oh, Bukakis?
Bukowskis, I think.
Bukowskis.
Yeah, something like that.
Bukowskis.
Mike, this is a Christian podcast, and we don't talk about phalluses here, okay?
We don't need to hear about your porn browser history. Jeez.
Whoa!
Did I say that? You said that.
Whoa! Keep my porn history out of this, friend.
So yeah, you'll find a lot of chickens with strap-ons there. So, anyways, Jimmy Crute, yeah, man, a man who is usually billed as a grappler, very good Kimura, patient.
Yeah,
looked like he had some thunderous low kicks, and the finish came off of, man, I called it. I'm like, if Bukowskis throws that in mid-fight, I'm like, if Bukowskis throws that step-up left kick again, he's gonna get knocked out. Yeah. Like, he walked right into that counter. Not that Crute wasn't doing good things. You know, he had a counter right cross over the top that was working well for him. The low kick was making Bukowskis hesitant to step in with his jab, but he threw it earlier in the round and got countered the exact same way. It's just when you throw that left kick, you can't walk too far forward into punching range, because if you do, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. We see it time and time again, actually. You'll see it in a lot of kickboxing bouts where left kick... Actually, you know what? A good
left
MMA...
kick hospital, right kick cemetery. Is that what you're going to say, Mike?
No. You know a good fight actually shows it? I want to say it was Ultimate Fighter. Remember that gentleman, Matt somebody, who gave somebody...
Brown.
Was it Matt Brown? No. It was Ultimate Fighter. Quinn Rampage was coaching that one season. And
Matt Brown was on that season. Matt, I want to see the animal, Matt. I want to see the animal, Forrest Griffin. I want to see the animal.
Legend, immortal. Okay, let's go.
Right, but yeah, no.
Matt's been begging us to get on the podcast. The timing's not right for us right now, Matt, but if you want to come on in the near future, you can hop on.
I love the Immortal. The Immortal should come on whenever.
Did you steal my chewing tobacco? Remember that part?
Yeah.
Guys, unfortunately, because you started this podcast very late, you strolled in late, you're jerking your girk. It's okay, but unfortunately, I got to get out of here.
This is one of the few times I will allow it because, I kind of messed up. All right.
Thank you, good sir.
All right. The only problem is, can you wait till Jeremy gets here, because he was supposed to...
Jeremy!
Take it sleazy.
Boxing correspondent. All right.
Hey, in this crazy messed up world...
Hold on. There you go.
In this crazy messed up world where Stefano has to leave the podcast early, you have three things. You have three things. You have Jeremy's sophisticated boxing analysis. You have David's diligent East Asia correspondence. And you have Michael's wildly inaccurate takes. Peace out, everybody.
All right, get out of here.
Give me 1 second. I just gotta go get my notes.
All right. Okay.
Jeremy just made doo-doo in his undies, and now he's got to go. So.
Okay, so the other fight is give me the hat. Give me the hat. Give me the hat. All right. So the other thing is we were going to talk Teofimo Lopez versus
Teofimo Lopez.
I know. I keep
Teofimo
Lopez, the Nicaraguan nightmare.
Latino Lopez. Thanks. I'll take this.
Latino. Now, the reason why a lot of people are actually happy about this, I got a couple friends who are actually from the country of Nicaragua who were very happy for this win. I don't know if Teofimo Lopez is actually from there. They just said he was. I'll take
He's from Brooklyn.
He's from Brooklyn, but I heard he's of Nicaraguan descent. I don't know if that's like a true statement. Probably should did some research on that before I came on. But they're really happy about it. And the reason why they're really happy is because he beat the consensus best boxer in the world, according to a lot of magazines, over the weekend. Gentlemen, this one was interesting, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. We got blessed with a fantastic fight on Saturday.
I agree.
Yeah, like what a great thing for boxing.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say my take is not really a take, but would you say it's better than the Wilder Fury?
Of course,
fight?
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No way, not for me.
No. It was more competitive. It was more competitive. Yeah, it was more competitive. You have to appreciate a competitive boxer.
Sure, but in terms of like definitive.
What do you mean definitive? It is definitive. It was a more competitive fight.
No, but definitive as in who really won that one. And I think that's where a lot of people look. Okay, I'll say this: it was a great fight. It was a chess match. It was competitive. And you know what? You know what the other thing is too. In the UFC, the best fight the best. Guys fight the guys they're supposed to fight when they're supposed to fight them. And for a long time in boxing, we didn't get that.
Yeah, that's why I'm so passionate about this. Like one fight,
and
because you finally got what fans were clamoring for.
And here's the thing: we've been seeing incremental gains towards that with the Wilder Fury, the Joshua Ruiz fight.
Oh,
we're seeing incremental gains with that, but we didn't get that. We didn't get. Hey, you want this fight? You're gonna get it. Boom, here it goes. Right now until today, until Saturday, and even Saturday, I was kind of like, I don't know. I'd rather see Haney versus Lomachenko. I don't know, but that's from an outside looking in. That's not a hardcore perspective, right? And that's why we bring on Jeremy, the boxing correspondent. But we
can talk about Haney versus Lomachenko another time because I don't know if I like that matchup for Haney, honestly.
I think Haney's a paper champion, to be honest with you. But that's from an outside looking in.
I would agree.
I think Haney's a paper champion.
Wow, that's a huge thing to say. He can find you, Michael.
No, look, Haney can kick my ass. Every boxer who fights at WBO top 10 level can kick my ass. But as an analyst, let's be honest with each other. Let's go around the room. Do you think any of these two guys would have trouble against Devin Haney?
No, I think Haney's more of a gatekeeper.
Really box.
Sorry,
Jeremy. What were you saying?
I was just saying that I thought Devin Haney was more of a gatekeeper, in my opinion. But go ahead.
I was going to say Haney can really box, so maybe Lopez, but that's not saying that Lopez can't box. I just think, Lomachenko is still the best boxer. In terms of, technique-wise.
Yeah, I agree.
I've seen, recent, maybe other, Terrence Crawford, in terms of, defense and countering, but, in terms of, technique, Loma was amazing. Yeah, my question to you, Jeremy, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, that was kind of the introduction to the fight, and you jumped right on. I was kind of gonna say what happened in the fight. We haven't even said, really. I was just gonna say that Saturday, Lopez pulled off the upset by beating Lomachenko, and I just want to go over how the popular opinion and how I scored the fight after watching it 2 times. That was
literally gonna be my question. How did you score the fight?
Okay.
What rounds do you think Loma won and Lopez won?
Yeah. So after 2 times of watching the fight, I had Lopez winning round 1, 3 through 6, and round 12. And then I had Lomachenko winning. These are definitive rounds, so not swing rounds, but definitive rounds. I had Lomachenko definitively winning rounds 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then the swing ones were 2 and 7. But David, Michael told me that you said you gave Lopez eight rounds, and you gave Lomachenko. You didn't even give Lomachenko one of those swing rounds?
No, I gave Lomachenko 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
2 for me, swing round. I don't know. It's tough to call it for that one.
I don't know how
Lopez for activity, even though Lomachenko landed.
You know what though? I will say in round 7, I kind of gave it to Lomachenko because even though Lopez didn't lose control of the fight, he was frozen. He was frozen by Lomachenko's skill and his tactics, because Lomachenko in the 7th round realized I need to pick it up, and he actually came into distance. Michael, I know you're gonna want to talk about how Lomachenko was avoiding that right hand, so you go ahead and jump in.
No, look, I think what it was the first. I want to say first 6 rounds. I think the plan was him and his dad were 6 rounds. Let's see what he's got. Yeah, Lomachenko and Antonelli.
Yeah, both dads are trainers in this fight, by the way. That's also a big part of this story. No, it's good.
Yeah, but, I think the first 6, they were hey, we don't know what this kid can do over 12. We don't know what this kid can do over 12. He might gas himself out.
Uh-huh.
Let's wait him out and go for it in the later rounds. And I think that was almost to its detriment because what they forgot. Because I don't think they won the later rounds because Lopez tired out. I think they won the later rounds because Lomachenko one thing I noticed with Lopez is, and this is just an analytic perspective, is Lopez didn't really have a defensive reaction he went to. He kind of just either moved his head out of the way or took the shot, right? He didn't necessarily have like, oh, I'm gonna high guard here. I'm gonna have a Philly shell here. Oh, I'm gonna maybe do a turtle shell guard here, where you kind of turtle shell. You know, he didn't have like a reaction. He just kind of, I'm moving my head out of the way in some sort of manner to get out of the way of the punch, or I'm going to take this punch and then counter with something.
No, but he did once he knew that he was getting beaten, he did start pushing back.
Yeah, he
started push back, which was kind of smart on Lopez's part. And his footwork wasn't terrible.
It's not terrible.
His footwork is very good, and I think what Lopez proved to everybody, because everybody was saying it, like, okay, I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of people were saying that the only way Lopez is going to win this fight is if he knocks Lomachenko out. And everybody, or a lot of people, underestimated Lopez's skill.
Yeah,
and
I think
stood out for me. Yeah, it was like the narrative was that he was a power puncher and Lomachenko's a boxer. But for me, and you know, who am I to criticize anybody's strategy? But for the first 6 rounds, Lopez dominated that fight. Lomachenko let him or Lopez enforced his will or whatever, he dominated it. So by round 7, the urgency should have been on, and I just didn't see that urgency. And, you know, even when it got into more of like, I don't know the word to describe it, kind of more of a swing fight as opposed to more of like a interchange as opposed to like one person leading the dance, I felt like Lopez had the power that was really giving Lomachenko like a lot of problems. So,
but see, this is one of my criticisms about power and how we measure power. And you guys have heard me say this all the time, and I feel like a lot of times I scream like it's like old man screams at cloud, or like me just like screaming into the abyss. But we pick and choose when power matters, 1, and 2. We measure power in such a weird way. We measure power in reaction, and we measure power in like perceived reaction. And I think there was times where like Lopez didn't get all of Lomachenko, but because Lomachenko's like backing away or being defensively sound, it like we kind of like said, oh, that's a power punch, and you see in the copy box numbers.
Though. Like,
you know what?
When he went to the body, for sure. When he went to the body, but there were some power punches that you saw like on the copy box numbers to the head, where I'm like, I don't know if he landed that many. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you're watching it and you're like, I don't know about that, right?
Yeah, you're right. I think Lopez wasn't very accurate, but because he connected, like David said, a lot of people perceived him as having the power advantage in those rounds. What was I was gonna say something to David's point.
I wouldn't say that Lopez got anything that, you know, troubled Lomachenko or would have knocked him out or anything like that, for sure. But I do think like he was effective in landing, more effective in the earlier rounds than Lomachenko, because Lomachenko literally didn't throw anything for the second round. And I felt like, you know, it wasn't until the later rounds where Lomachenko pretty much was like, oh yeah, like let me try to win this fight. And honestly, you mentioned this earlier, Mike, I actually kind of thought Lopez gassed out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. He did a little, not gas out, but he.
I think what it was is he just forgot to go to the body. I simply think it was, hey, he because the first 6 rounds, what Lopez was doing really well was getting Lomachenko to go high guard, back away, and then on the way out, he would hit him downstairs. Mm-hmm. And now it got Lomachenko to think, right? And I think and I think Lomachenko just for a while was just not figuring out the timing of Lopez and not figuring out what Lopez wanted to do, right?
You know what though? Lopez deserves a lot of credit.
He does.
Because he did not let Lomachenko establish that outside foot, and as a result, even when Lomachenko had his flurries, he still couldn't
really
move to the. I think it was the right, because he was fighting out of southpaw, and I think he couldn't move to the right. Like Lopez didn't move to the right really at all. So.
I really liked when Lopez would get beat to the outside. I
shouldn't be showing my white ass knuckles.
Right, I really like the fact that whenever Lopez did get beat to the outside, Lopez just simply pushed him. That's old school, smart boxing. Push or grab.
But immediately after the fight, Andre Ward scored a tie. So did we. Like immediately. I wanted to talk about, guys, is just the crazy scorecards. One judge had a 119.
Julia Letterman. Let me say this.
Andre Ward, like a card where it's a tie, which I found weird. I mean,
no, because you wanted to give Lomachenko credit immediately after the fight for showing that he had skill, which is why I think a lot of people gave it a tie because Michael says this a lot.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I had it 6-5 going into the 12. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm about to lead you. I'm about to segue you in here.
Sorry,
Michael says this a lot that it's what you value that determines, right? That's what you say. Like
a lot of times what you value determines on how you perceive a round. Sometimes, right? If you okay, how do I say this? Because I think this is how I scored it. I had it the first time I watched it. I'll be honest. I had it 6-5 Lomachenko going into the 12th. Right? Don't judge.
I was waiting for David's reaction. I'm like, are you kidding?
Don't judge. I had 6-5 for Lomachenko going into the 12th. I had Lomachenko winning the 2nd, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, me too.
I was so convinced he won the 2nd and the 7th. But then I could see, I watched it again, and I could see where people who value power, value heart, value activity, could give Lopez that round. It's just that, like, if any boxer knows, those weren't effective punches, right? And it's the classic Hagler versus Robinson argument all over again. What do you value? What do you value? Do you value activity? Do you value pushing forward? Do you value making it a fight? Or do you value technical skills? And honestly, I think what it is philosophically, what do you think of boxing? Is it a sport or is it a fight?
In the most comprehensive words.
Don't do that. No, because there's different elements to the sport.
No,
one of them is power.
Of course, it's not.
So don't do it like.
No. Look,
but
sorry.
In your most comprehensive words, how do you?
Simplest terms. In the simplest terms. That's what I'm saying.
But like how? Okay, so like in simplest terms, how do you feel Lomachenko won the 2nd and 7th round? At least first time you saw it, or maybe like upon further review, even still. How do you think?
I'm sorry. I'm
2nd and 7th. What
numbers for Lomachenko? How did he win that 2nd round?
So here's the thing about the 2nd round was the 2nd round. I think both guys didn't really do much. I don't think guys did much. I think they were trying to still figure each other out.
Lomachenko just started going for it without calculation.
I thought Lomachenko had about 3 really nice punches on the outside foot, and Lopez went to the body a couple of times, and it was cool. But like there was a couple of times where like they were partially landing. I think I saw like 2. Like there was like a good hook on he landed a right straight and then he landed like a left hook to the body that was nice and caught Loma around his guard into the side. But I didn't see anything that like was like, oh, these were better than the 3 punches Lomachenko landed. So I'm gonna give Lomachenko these based on the 3 good punches I saw. Go ahead.
This is my thing though. Like just literally looking at the CompuBox numbers. Which I know we've established aren't always the most accurate, and
CompuBox numbers are so weird. They're so weird.
But I just didn't see, like, for me, it was almost like Lomachenko literally threw like single-digit numbers punches for the first 7 rounds.
For the first 6, for the first 6, I agree with you. The 2nd round, though, I just think that like Lopez wasn't exactly active either, and when he was, it wasn't.
Even if he wasn't active, he still had double digits. He still had double digits punches landed.
But David, was it? Can we both say to each other that was more effective than the 3 punches in Lomachenko landed? We've both watched this over and over, right? Lomachenko had the cleaner punches in the 2nd, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, he did.
He definitely had the cleaner punches in the 2nd, but fair enough. I don't know.
No, that's how I scored it. Like I'm not trying to change anything.
No, 2nd was a swing round. Like even Max Kellerman said 2nd was a swing round. But what you can appreciate, the reason why a lot of people, and I have to agree, is that not only because Lomachenko's strategy was to take him into deep water. That was the game plan. And not only did Lopez show that he can swim, this is in the words of Sean Porter, not only did Lopez show that he can swim, he showed that he was a shark. Like, he did not fade away in those rounds, which is why even in the rounds that were swings, he didn't fade at all. So that's why I said, like, he still remained control of the fight. Just he was a little bit frozen. But, yeah, he showed if you can show your skill, which I think because people saw it for the first time, that's also why he won the fight. But, I mean, that's just, like, theory stuff. But, look, he showed, like, his skill. And if you're skilled in the ring, you deserve credit.
Yeah, no, like, that's a problem that I'm having is I don't want to take away from Teofimo Lopez because he boxed his face off.
And one more thing. I still believe that Lomachenko is the best. Like, I still, like, Lomachenko does not decrease in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, same thing David said. I just want to reiterate, like, I still think Lomachenko is, like, pound for pound best fighter or...
I think he lost some stock. I'm not going to lie to you, but I don't think – I think anybody who's a hardcore boxing fan knows that this was just two of the best going up against each other. And when they were supposed to go – when they're supposed to go up against each other, and one guy unfortunately has to lose. Like, it's just the way it goes.
Also, another narrative, and I know it doesn't matter that much, but one guy coming off, an 8-month, 10-month layoff.
14 months for Lomachenko.
Yeah, the other guy's coming off 2 years. So, yeah.
Like, it's a toughie. But to answer your question about the 7th, the reason why I give it to the 7th is just because, again, it's just one of those things where Lomachenko just started to get going and was just a lot more effective with when he got his opportunities. I think that should matter in boxing. I don't know. Like, I've always said it. I've looked at MMA and boxing more as sports. And because of that, I just think that, like... I've always said it, you're trying to take something as intangible as fighting, where there's always a winner and a loser based on the ending of a fight, right? When, like, you're on the street and you're fighting somebody, right? The fight is over when someone is down, when someone is submitted. You know what I'm saying? When someone's choked out, arms broken.
Yeah, no, but I hear what you're saying, but I personally, from a sporting perspective, scored it using the 10-point must system.
No, I know you did. I know you did. Like,
so, like, I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but also, like, you know, if we go round by round, I think, you know, holistically, who had the better fight? I think I would probably say, like, who's the most dominant during the fight? I would probably say Lomachenko. I actually kind of agree with you in terms of he landed the cleaner punches. His game plan was very obvious.
He should have went in the 5th, though. Boy, he should have went in the 5th. Like, he should have got going earlier. Yeah.
He just, if he started in the 3rd round, I mean, how many times have we seen it in other fighters? They give the first couple rounds away, and then they're like, okay, business. Like, I get that, and I respect that game plan, but I just think, like, you know, round by round. And I feel like even he felt, and no disrespect to Lomachenko, but he felt like he was going to take that round 12. And that ended up being a Teofimo Lopez round.
If he wins that last round, and we're talking about this being a robbery, right? We're talking about this being a robbery today. And by the way, let me just say, Julia Letterman. I hate to go this route, but the great Harold Letterman, Julia Letterman's dad, would be rolling in his grave right now, because that 119 to 109 was so disgraceful.
Okay. I didn't even know about this storyline.
I don't understand it. There were definitely Lomachenko rounds. I think it's hard to argue against 8, 9,
I'm sorry.
And 11. Like, those are Stonewall Lomachenko rounds.
She scored it as a blowout for
She
Lopez.
scored it 11 to 1. 119 to 109.
Lopez, which is kind of ridiculous.
Oh, jeez. Okay, never. Okay.
That is.
Again, like, you know, how many times have we seen it the other way? I think it's hard to argue that, you know, the first, I don't know.
Incorrect.
For me, the first 7 rounds were like Stonewall Lopez too. So, like, I don't know.
Look, I saw 116 to 112, and I'm like, okay, you can make an argument for 8 to 4. Like, a lot of people were saying 8 to 4. You know what I'm saying? A lot of smart people I respect were saying 8 to 4 when they saw it the first time. And that's the thing about judges. And I think I think sometimes judges get a lot of flack on them because they see one thing one time and have to make one decision in 1 minute. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they can't go back.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah, 11-1 is insane. So the roundabout point I'm trying to make is 8-1, 8-4, fine. 8-4, I see it. Okay, I get it. The 7th round is a swing round. The 2nd round's a swing round. Fine. I gave the 2nd and 7th to Lomachenko when initially. Okay, whatever. 9-3. I mean, sure, fine. The 12th round is low. I guess
9-3 is crazy.
9-3 is crazy, but like that 11th round. That 11th round, the ending of that 11th round, Lopez really showed me something that I thought wasn't enough.
More than 8-5, 8-4, 75. Like you weren't watching that.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think so too. But the point I'm trying to make is that 11th round, Lopez really turned on the gas in the ending of that 11th round. That I think if you watched it one time, you could say he stole the round. I think it's crazy. I'm with you. I think it's crazy, but fine. Okay, sure. You get one look at it one time, and you have 1 minute to make a decision. Okay. 11-1 though.
It's ridiculous. Michael, did you see the tweet by Teddy Atlas about the judge from the same card who was? Oh, no, actually, I don't think it was the same card. I think it was a previous or a different
previous
card,
fight. A previous fight, actually.
Yeah, it was on his phone during the fight.
Dude, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. This is what we have.
How about the undercard for this fight too? Sorry, I didn't answer that.
I was just
the undercard was actually pretty decent. There were some good fights on this card.
Yeah, I was gonna also mention during this boxing segment that we do hear that Edgar Berlanga is probably the middle. I guess I would want to call that middleweight or. Basically 170, 175 area. Like he's that division's Deontay Wilder at the moment. Like he's 15-0, all knockout within the first 2 minutes of the fight. Every single last one of them. He went off against Bellows. What's his first name?
Emmanuel Bellows?
No. It was okay. His last name is Bellows, but.
Never been stopped in his career, by the way.
Never been stopped. Yeah, Edgar Edgar Berlanga stopped him for the first time in career. He's scary. He's scary, dude. And
we'll see. I don't know. I didn't watch that fight. Unfortunately, for some reason, my attention was away because I watched the fight before it and after it. Mm-hmm. But he looked raw. So I see the Deontay Wilder comparison. Some of those middleweights can really box, no? So yeah.
I was talking to Jeremy. Is that he's very? If I'm a boxing trainer, I can see how you can game plan against him. He's very game plannable from what we've seen. But then again, this is the weird thing about guys who knock people out is they can either be really, really good as the round goes along, and they've been training for this moment for a long time.
Yeah.
Or they could be really, really crappy as they could either be Andrew Bruno, where in the 5th round they're just forget about it, they suck. Or they could be in a weird way, Deontay Wilder is actually one of these guys who's really, really good as the rounds go along. He's got 12-round cardio, so he can still beat you as the fight goes along, right? Which is what makes it maddening with Deontay Wilder about hey. An intelligent jab an educated jab would really help, man. But I think it's weird to say we're right now in the case of Schrodinger's fight with this Berlanga kid, where it's you don't know what you have until you don't know what he's going to bring in the 2nd or 3rd round, or 4th or 5th or 6th or whatever until you get there. Yeah,
we'll see. Yeah, like David said, we'll see. What else that stood out from last night? Anyways, I don't know much that stood out from last night, but the Kell Brooks, Terrence Bud Crawford, Michael's favorite fighter. Yeah, this is a fight that's been trying to happen for a while now. So I've learned a little bit about Kell Brooks in the process, but From all the boxing aficionados, he seems like a very formidable opponent. And Terrence Bud Crawford, as you all know, is Michael's favorite fighter.
I love that guy. I still think Errol Spence is the best fighter in the world. Errol Spence is still my favorite, but
okay.
Close second. But
you're really high on.
I'm really high on
Terrence Crawford.
I'm really
and
high.
So that's November 15th. And I didn't even. I guess I kind of like skimmed by it, and I didn't even realize. But Gervonta Davis actually has a fight in San Antonio. October 31st, so that's coming up soon. That's pretty big. Gervonta Davis is powerful and aggressive, which is not surprising. He's from inner city Baltimore, so
those Baltimore guys can box, man.
Yo,
like
Baltimore Bomber.
Shout out to Fat Night Sports Kendall Hilton, by the way. Kendall Hilton's my guy. But yeah, no, he was making the rounds, and he was telling me about this about Tank Davis even before Tank Davis was big, and I was like, really? And he was like, bro. Yeah. Watch out, and Tank is now the man.
Gervonta Tank Davis is I forget the name of the gentleman he's fighting, but he's also been a champion in his own right, so it should be good. I think that's everything. Oh yeah, Errol Spence and Garcia is November 5th. So
Errol Spence is my guy.
Or December 5th.
Errol Spence is my guy. But yeah,
that's it for boxing, and good fight. And I think that Teofimo Lopez is a star in the making. He's got ultra confidence. I love his confidence. Like
Jeremy, rematch?
Oh yeah, rematch. I think eventually there will be a rematch. I don't know if it's right away or if they're gonna go their separate ways because they have eyes on other competition. There was no rematch clause in the contract, so that's why I think that's what's gonna happen. But I think if there's a rematch, I think Lopez is gonna go to the body more. I think Lomachenko, I don't know.
Oh, that's something I forgot to say. The rounds where Lopez, in my opinion, I think the rounds where Lopez won were the rounds that he invested downstairs. And the rounds he lost, like that's literally for me what it was, is that Lopez, when he won, he went to the body. When he didn't, he didn't. He forgot to.
Yeah, that was it also opened up the upstairs too.
Yeah, right? So that's all. That's literally what it came down to.
I think if there's a rematch, I think Lopez has a good chance of repeating what he did this time.
Right, I just think that.
What do you think, David?
I think I mean, honestly, I'm going to be honest. I don't see it. I think Lomachenko gets it the second time. I just think those first few rounds. I think in a rematch he wouldn't take as many rounds off. I think he would start a little bit earlier, and you could definitely see like once he put it on Lopez, like it was clear
there was no answer.
Better boxer was like it was really clear.
That's true. That's true.
But I just feel like it's all about like a timing thing, and this was just the right time to fight Lomachenko, and Lopez has got it. Another question is whether he's going to put all 4 belts up next time, or whether he's going to fight for like 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. I don't know.
It'll probably be based on who promotes him or who manages him. Bob Arum.
Bob Arum.
I think Bob Arum will probably advise him in that department.
I will say, though, like 2 things. To answer your question first, I would love to see what an active Lomachenko does. Because we saw against Guillermo Rigondeaux, that was basically made a guy quit, right? Mm-hmm. An active Lomachenko. 2, I think the weird thing about boxing now is that because Lopez is now a star, and again, because he's of Latino descent, right?
From Brooklyn,
New York. From Brooklyn.
The epicenter of. So he's an American champion from Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, he's
unified all the belts
and Latino descent. He's going to be fine financially. So why not put the belts up? Because even if you lose, you're still going to get paid for the next fight after.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like the UFC where if you lose the belt, like you're going from like millions of dollar paydays to like barely scraping past 100,000, you know?
Yeah, but it's not like the UFC where you can slowly build your way back up to the belt. Mm-hmm. Chances are, if you lose the belt, you might not ever get a shot ever again.
Fair enough. I can hear that one. I can hear that one too. It's just financially, it's not as much of a death sentence as it is in the UFC. You know,
maybe for like 1 or 2 fights, but I think like over like the long term, like the smarter thing is to like sit on your belts and fight like easier opponents.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just that like it's almost in a weird way. I feel like because he was so young and so risky and so it's that young confidence that made him want to. Hey, here's all 4 belts as a 23-year-old going against one of the best in the world when I'm supposed to go against one of the best in the world. And credit to Lomachenko, because Lomachenko could have said, no, I'm going to fight so-and-so.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But he didn't. Coming off a 14-month layoff, by the way, too.
And he had all to lose. He had more to lose.
Yeah.
He had 3 belts. The other guy had 1.
And he did it. Credit to Lomachenko, because Lomachenko, one thing I will always say about Lomachenko is he doesn't have a fight-ducking bone in his body. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'm not saying that other guys who sit on it and go fight somebody else and whatever are fight duckers. It's the game. It's the way the game is played. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it goes. But Lomachenko doesn't have that in his body. Mm-hmm. He fights guys when he's supposed to fight them. And I love that. He fought Rigondeaux when he was supposed to fight him. He fought Pedraza when he was supposed to fight him. Right? He was angling for Tank Davis. He fights guys when he's supposed to fight the guys. Yeah. Right? So, credit to Lomachenko.
Which is why this is such a big fight, but it doesn't, it doesn't condemn the Floyd Mayweathers of the world who made it popular to be profitable on your record and everything like that. So he made it popular, and that's why you can't hate on him for that, because he's going to go down as the greatest or one of the greatest in the world. So you can't condemn it, but this is what made this fight so big, is that we don't usually see this in this sport. So you're right. I'd agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, on to our East Asia correspondent. No, I'm kidding.
No, nothing to respond on today or report on today. Yeah. I do want to check in with me next week.
Yeah, I do want to speak on our Wonder Girl interview that came out Saturday. Because I went back and watched it again, and I was just so because she is technically our one championship standout and friend of the show, Nat Wonder Girl. I just want to say how, Jesus Christ, what a good interview, David. You showed out on that one, I gotta say, because she was super candid, and I really encourage everyone to go watch it or see it or listen to it, because I'm not saying it because it's the it could have been Monday Morning Combat with Luke Thomas or the Fighter and the Kid, or it could have been anybody.
It could have been Joe Rogan.
It could have been the Joe Rogan experience, and I would have said go listen to this interview, because it was so honest and so pure and so candid, and we got to kind of there were points where she was kind of talking about kind of how women don't get paid in the Muay Thai belts enough, and there was parallels of talking about sexism in a way, which is kind of interesting, and then there was talking about her just really trying to make that effort to go into MMA and why, and man, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it was,
it was a surprising interview. Both me and Michael, I guess we've both been doing this for a little bit, and rarely do you get such an open and honest response in an interview. So thank you once again to Wonder Girl. Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah, and the thing about it too was it was such an eye-opening weekend for us, because the day before we get Chicago, it was the exact same thing.
Yeah,
it was the exact same thing. And then just to pull back the curtain, we don't release the interviews right away because we want to actually get a promotion going and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just really, really interesting and really, really eye-opening to see just how honest fighters are, right? And we thought, we were going to get kind of... We didn't think we were going to get cookie-cutter interviews, but we didn't think we were going to get that. That was...
And now I think with, if you add the promo and also this little spiel about the interview, I think, this is actually longer than the actual interview itself. So yeah, please check it out. It's super fun. Thank you once again to Wonder Girl. It was an honor to speak to such a legend in the making. She hated when I called her that, but still, I mean, how many other female cross-sport champions or fighters do you know?
Yeah, it's her and Stamp, right? And she the admiration for Stamp Fairtex.
And Valentina, I guess.
And Valentina.
The list is actually kind of long, but whatever. But there's a shout out to her. That was great.
But yeah,
Kill me. No, actually, no, never mind. The list is kind of.
no, I thought you meant like simultaneously. Like simultaneously, there. It's not very long, but you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Other than that, like I kind of wanted to end it like super early. I didn't want to go like an hour and a half.
Okay.
So
Here we are.
Yeah. But
What was it, like an hour 15?
hour 15. You know, not bad. Jeremy, you got anything you want to say?
I'm gonna be doing some more research on it, but I definitely plan to really contribute to this movement of ending SARS, because I just really am starting to adopt that idea of, you know, an injustice anywhere is threat to justice everywhere. I mean, that's honestly the God honest truth. So I'm gonna do some more research on that, but I encourage you to do some research yourself on any injustices that interest you. And send me your injustice, ergo to the phrase I just said, so I can learn about it and educate myself. And second take, you know, thank you, Braves, for nutting. No, not Braves.
Yeah, the Atlanta Braves.
No. The guys who beat Houston, Tampa Bay. Thank you, Tampa Bay, for nutting up, so we didn't have to watch the Houston Rockets in the World Series.
Houston Astros.
I'm sorry. Houston Astros. I'm sorry. I don't really watch baseball like that, but I'm just saying.
The travesty.
But
I don't really watch baseball like that.
I was
I'm just
very
saying.
shocked. I remember I wanted to bring this up a couple months ago, and you guys were like, we don't talk baseball. I was like, guys, this is one of the biggest scandals in history, where it's the sign stealing scandal. And the Astros, no sign stealing, was about to go to the World Series again, and basically non-invasive collectively all of Major League Baseball.
This is like not in terms of like morally, but this is kind of the same thing as like Las Vegas. If you're a hockey fan, Las Vegas nearly going to the Stanley Cup, in their first year of being in the NHL?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of the same thing.
Well, yeah.
I mean, not really, because it's still an organization that has history and stuff, but you know what I mean? Like, in terms of story magnitude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, we saw, you know what? It was a great CS.
I'm not a journalist. I don't know the terms and stuff, guy.
No, it's a great CS. It was a great CS because you had the Houston Astros off of the sign stealing scandal, basically giving the collective middle finger to all of Major League Baseball.
Honestly, I low-key rated it.
I rated it.
I low-key
What
rated
cares about baseball? Guys?
Yo, David, F you, bro. Like, there's some things we actually do, like...
Yeah, man. If you get me started about hockey, too, like, don't worry about it.
Like,
but yeah, no, I was very impressed with the CSs. And then, obviously, the Dodgers with their comeback and making it to World Series. So, yeah, okay.
And if you don't like baseball like David, then we're sorry we alienated you for I'm sorry we alienated you for 5 minutes out of the podcast.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, okay. But next week, the big one, we're having a fight companion. We are having a fight companion. It's happening. It's in the studio. And I finally got the board set up so that I can listen to David speak without having to do this insane editing maneuver that I have to do every week. So we're doing it. We're having a fight companion. I'm probably gonna put out some kind of subtitled promo like I usually do on Wednesday or something. It's happening. We're doing it. Too bad. And yeah, have fun. Right. All right. In this crazy mixed up world, it's super late and we didn't get this podcast out in time. Just remember, you got 3 things. You got life. You got family. And you got Stefano leaving early because he doesn't care about us. Stay safe, everybody.
Peace.